Humphreys, 5 minutes.
Thank you, Conor. And first of all, can I welcome the bill and also welcome the amount of work that has been carried out by the Minister. And I believe the work he's carried out has been an effort to strengthen the credit union and not to do damage. And probably, first of all, I should declare I'm a member of the credit union, and I probably wouldn't be here if I hadn't been able to borrow money back in '98 to start running my first campaign. So I do have a self-interest. I suppose I should declare that at the stage. But I think that's an example of the strength of the credit unions. They're at the very heart of the community. I look at many of the young people up there in the gallery looking down, and my own children were introduced to the credit union by their grandmother when they opened the first account. I think many people, it's intergenerational and in how our grandparents introduced us to the credit union and the support the credit union have given to communities, and not to just to mention the assistance they give to money advice and bureaus, MAPs. Like what Deputy Crowe said earlier on, I do believe we should look at the expansion of credit unions in funding schemes with a social benefit and underlining that. When Deputy Adams was speaking, I just couldn't help but think of John Hume, because part of John Hume's great work was the credit union movement, where he travelled the length and breadth of the country, building the credit union and working for the expansion of that. And indeed, Deputy Adams probably wouldn't be here today only for the work that John Hume had done in the Peace and the Good Friday programme. I know there's a number of major issues has been raised, and Deputy O'Riordan has mentioned the specific areas. Rather than repeat the points, can I support them? I think we need to look and examine over this. I think we have very different credit unions at the moment. We have the very small and specific and sometimes professional or small working place credit unions. We have the slightly larger community credit unions. And then we have some credit unions that are verging on the size of banks. So there's a whole range of regulations that the new legislation has to cover. I hope, the Minister, you will consider amendments, because while there has been an awful lot of work, I think there has to be an opportunity both from government and opposition deputies to work together to try and get the best solution, which covers a whole wide range of spectrum of what the credit union goes, from the very small credit union to the very large. And I think that's the difficult one. And when we were holding hearings at the Finance Committee, it came across very clearly that there is a difference of opinion across the movement in several different areas. And I do believe governance is a point. Firstly, current legislation imposes a number of administration measures of credit unions, such as membership committee, a credit committee and a credit officer as example. Can I say, for small specialised credit unions where they have an excellent credit record going back a number of years, all these functions could probably be carried out by one board. I would ask the Minister to give consideration to the Register of Credit Unions leeway to permit small credit unions that have less formal committee structures, where the Register is satisfied its credit union has run in accordance with the regulations requirement and is likely to do in the future.
1 minute, Deputy.
Secondly, the requirement of financial service expertise, qualifications, backgrounds of all directors is worrying and needs to be gone into greater detail at specific. And while the extent is not spelt out, and I think it isn't spelt out clearly, we must kind of ensure that it's a qualified financial advisor we're talking about. And I would ask the Minister to consider amendment section 15(3) to allow the Register to satisfy themselves that the Board has availed of its relevant financial service expertise and has not acted against the advice given. I think a small amendment in 15(3) could assist the small or specialised credit union. I'd say, just in conclusion, we have to remember the credit union movement is a force in this country and has been a force for good. If you look at recent surveys, people try to make the repayments to credit unions first because credit unions are still lending money. As Deputy O'Riordan said, they keep the money lender from the door. They play a very important role in society. And what we have to do, we have to ensure, when we're considering this bill, that we do no damage and that we strengthen the credit union.